G'day guys, Daniel here from Caravan Industry Victoria. I'm here with Linda Hitch from Hitch Engineering and Gary Gardner from Hayman Reese, and both of these guys have been working with the association for a number of years and have a wealth of experience, and we obviously thank them for their time and helping us talk about these topics. And this topic for this session is a very important one, and one that people tend to forget, and we'll tell a few stories and some of the weights that we've seen in these, but we're going to talk about the car weights and towing vehicle weights, or motorhome weights as it applies as well. So pretty interesting topic, hey Linda?
Yes, and like we touched on the other session, the weights are critical to keep you legal, and also from an insurance perspective, you want to make sure you still keep your coverage and you're not doing anything that goes against your policy.
Yeah, correct. And Gary, probably one of these things, particularly with the tow vehicles, people don't probably think about it. And, I know there's a lot of tradies and the like who've got their tools and toolboxes and probably don't appreciate the weight that they're probably putting on their cars, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Building what Linda just said, yes, legalities are important, and so are insurances, but these maximum weights are put in there for a reason, and that is, that's the safest limit you can put on those components from braking, steering, handling, overall performance of your car. So, and it is one that's very, very easily overlooked. The more stuff you put on your car, we all like to have our four-wheel drives with all the really cool looking gear on them, but we've got to make sure that having all that on there isn't going to exceed any of these critical weights we're going to talk about.
Yeah, correct. So what I'll do is I'll bring up our consumer website, Go Make Some Memories. Obviously, we're also on Facebook where we talk a lot of topics, and I'm sure you'll probably see some videos of these two celebrities with me today, Linda and Gary, that we post about some videos that they've done. So what we've created, and this is a part of the inspections that we do, but as my computer wants to play up, but that's okay. We go into tips and consumer information, and we've got car weights and the towing weight and what they entail. So we're going to start at GVM here, but I was going to say GCM is the combination between the car and the caravan, and we're going to talk about that as well. So if you make sure you stick around for that topic, and if you if you thought that was in the caravan one and you've come across here, so make sure you stick around for GCM. So Gary, GVM, the car weight, and how that works, because I know a lot of people forget that that's when also the trailer's hooked on as well, mate.
100%. So the GVM, again, terminology point of view, GVM stands for gross vehicle mass. So that number is given to our motor vehicle from our motor vehicle manufacturer. It's the maximum weight your car can ever weigh with everything in it and on it. And I split those into two categories because there's things that you consider on the car which are there all the time. That's your tow bar, your bull bar, your roof racks, your winch, little things or big things like that which are always on the car, which aren't going to change. And then in the car is things like yourselves, passengers, it's fuel, it's luggage that you might put in and out of the back of the wagon or the back of the ute while you're traveling. That's what I refer to as in the motor vehicle. Yeah. But the GVM also includes the exact moment you hook on your caravan to your tow ball. Whatever that tow ball weight is also then measured as part of the car's gross vehicle mass as well. And again, that's something sometimes we overlook that we might be underneath our GVM when we have all our nice tow bars, bull bars, winches, and all that really cool four-wheel drivey stuff on our car. But then we're really close to the GVM, and then we add suddenly 200 or 300 kilos of tow ball weight, and it pushes the car above that legal GVM rating from the vehicle manufacturer. So I need to consider that as part of the towing setup as well.
Yeah, correct.
And some of the smaller things, we consider things like like I said, bull bars and winches and stuff. These are all heavy things that we understand they're going to add weight, but even adding things like floor mats in your car. It might only be 5 or 6 kilos of rubber floor mats, but it's another 5 or 6 kilos of weight. Putting car seat covers, a lot of us like to put those, like the canvas type car seat covers in our four-wheel drives now to protect the car, interior when we're out four-wheel driving. That's another 5 or 6 kilos that might be added. Even simple things like going from, might not even consider that the factory wheels and tyres that are on the car If we put off-road wheels and off-road tyres on there, we could suddenly be another 5 or 10 kilos heavier per corner, so per wheel and tyre. So there's, potentially another 40 kilos of weight coming off that, the gross vehicle mass that we need to consider, before we even start towing and putting the caravan on the back of it. So it's really, really critical number.
Yeah, critical. And as you sort of touched on, it's the maximum weight there that people can put in. It's surprising that, there's all these add-ons and additional items, and you quickly get up to that GVM and go over it fairly quickly as well.
Yeah, and very surprising just how low the GVM is on some of your really popular common tow vehicles. How much room you've got to move with from an empty vehicle to your GVM. Some of them are surprisingly low in that difference, and you do get there very, very quickly without adding too much at all to your car.
Yeah, correct. Linda, before Gary and I have a talk about a story that we had at Bendigo with a GVM that was well over, and we'll explain how that happened. Did you want to include anything on GVM?
Like Gary just touched on, he stole my little point there. It was that most people are quite surprised as to how little payload a four-wheel drive has. And then when you consider the Australian design rules, I think base an average person to about 76 or 80 kilos. Yeah, I don't think I haven't been 80 kilos since.
I'm hearing you.
So very quickly, you will reach your GVM with a whole family in there, plus your tow ball load acting on there. It actually doesn't give you that much room.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, agreed. One of the really, we won't go on hanging, we won't push any motor vehicle manufacturers underneath the bus at the moment, but one of the really, really popular tow vehicles, if you put mum and dad in the front seat, 3, 8 to 12-year-old kids across the back seat, a full tank of fuel, and then add the maximum towable weight it's allowed to have, the car well and truly exceeds its gross vehicle mass.
Yes.
And you've done nothing. That's not even putting bull bars and, winches and scrub rails and all these, really cool four-wheel drive things on them. So surprising how little payload, as you said, you do have to play with sometimes.
Yeah, correct. So the story from Bendigo, Gary, I teased it in another session. I teased it earlier. I remember getting the phone call. I was at the Bendigo show, and I think I was inside doing something, and got the phone call. You got to come out and see this one because this is unbelievable. And I remember coming out, and I think it was around 900 kilos overweight on the GVM. I think was what it was, and I remember we said, "What have you done, mate? What's going on?" And he goes, "What do you mean? What have I done? I haven't done anything." So what it was is he had I think from memory, a steel box, like a canopy on the back. He had all these drawers in there. He had all these tools. He had his bull bars. He had his tow bars. He had, you name it, in there. Plus he had his roof racks and everything on there. And he was well over. But I think, was it you that went under and inspected his car and saw what happened with his axle?
No, that one wasn't me. No, I thought you were talking about the one with the motorbike in the back.
Oh, that one too. Oh, yeah, there's that one as well.
He had one of those, hand winch type cranes off the corner of his tub, and we're sort of, why is it, again, the same sort of story. Why is it so heavy? And then, what's the idea of the crane? And then he opened his steel toolbox lid, and there was this, 250cc motorbike underneath this steel canopy, and the crane was there to get the motorbike in and out. I thought that's what you were talking about.
Well, yeah, I don't remember that one either, but it's funny how easy it is to do. And the one that I was talking about, his actual axle was bent because of what he had done, because it was so far heavy. And he just had no idea that it was actually that much weight in the back. He keeps going to, keeps buying aftermarket items. It just goes down to, the super cheaps and ARBs and the like. And, I need this now, and just goes and grabs it. But, tradies with their toolboxes and stuff probably don't even realise it as well. And then you put your caravan on, because his caravan weight, he was over on his tow ball on that. We'll talk about the tow ball capacity in a second as well. But he was over on that, and that's just gone straight onto the back of the car, and he was over his capacity. So, yeah, the GVM is an item that is easily forgotten, because it's just not thought of, I need this and I'll go get it and put it on, I'll be all right. But the car manufacturers have a rating as well, so you've got to be critical and aware of those. So we might move across to towing capacity. I don't know, whoever wants to talk about towing capacity can. I'll throw it over to you guys, whoever wants to.
Look, being it's Hayman Reefs, yeah, look, I might take lead on the towing capacity to start with. Every vehicle is given a maximum towing capacity from the vehicle manufacturer. So Holden, Nissan, Ford, Toyota, Mazda, Kia, Hyundai, whoever it is, they will determine what the maximum towing capacity is of any particular make, model or variant of their car. And I point that out because the model and the variant of a particular motor vehicle manufacturer can change based on whether it's an auto or a manual or a two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, petrol or diesel. Any variation of the car could potentially have a different towing capacity. So, then Hayman Reefs, other tow bar manufacturers, we make tow bars to suit the maximum capacity of that particular model variant of a vehicle. So just because we stamp the capacity on the tow bar, the owner of the vehicle, the operator of the vehicle needs to make sure that their particular variant, what the actual towing capacity is, because it could change and most likely does change in most cases. So if it says 3.5 ton on the forward drive automatic turbo diesel, maybe the manual is only allowed say 3 ton or 2.5 tons. So they need to be aware that the actual towing capacity refers to the model variant of their car, not just what's stamped on the compliance plate of the tow bar itself. It makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things, commonly misunderstood too is what the towing capacity then relates to in your caravan as well. So, if I talk towing capacity, what am I actually talking about with your caravan? Because then the caravan weights as well. So, each manufacturer could be different, so you probably need to speak to them. But I guess from my knowledge, it's commonly ATM that the towing capacity is related to, isn't it?
I think so, actually.
Gary, I know you.
Yeah, no, it is. So as a general rule of thumb, yes, we use the ATM of the trailer. The actual weight of what you're towing can't exceed the towing capacity of the vehicle. That's the overall weight of whatever you're towing. Yeah. Yeah, correct. Not just the ATM. The ATM rating is different. Yeah. Just to clarify, that is that just because I'll use something like a car trailer, for example, because it's a bit easy to understand the principles, that the ATM of a car trailer might be 3,500 kilos, but there's not to say you can't tow that with a vehicle that only has a capacity of 3,000 kilos, as long as you basically don't put a car on there. Correct. So we need to keep that in mind, is that the towing capacity doesn't always have to line up, number for number for the ATM rating. As long as you don't exceed the actual towing capacity of the car, the ATM rating on your trailer ID plate can basically be anything, as long as you don't exceed the actual towing capacity of the car. Correct, and that was a very good lead in there. And what the aspect of that is the maximum load that you've got. So that's what the trailer would be at that any moment in time. So we might move on to sort of the towable weight. And I know we talked about that weight in the caravan section, but there's obviously then a rating, Linda and Gary, on the car, the force on the back, but also on the tow bar as well.
Yeah, well, like we said, it affects the gross vehicle mass of the car as well. So the more you've got downforce acting on that tow ball, that needs to be added to the mass of all the occupants and the luggage and so forth, and you can't go over the GVM. So, and again, like Gary said, not go over what your tow ball is capable of as well. So,
yeah, even that tow ball loading in some cases can also affect the maximum axle weights of some cars as well. So you might not necessarily, if you've got, again, a lot of luggage in the back of the car, in the back of a ute or something, and you might be close to the rear axle maximum weight capacity from the vehicle manufacturer, you might have less than the legal capacity, or the legal towable rating from the vehicle manufacturer, but it can affect other things, in the whole process. So there's more to it than just I'm allowed 3,500 kilos and 350 kilos on the ball. There is so much more when it comes down to what that actual towable weight impact is going to have on, the car's overall weight as well as the axle weights as well.
Well, what people are quite surprised about, and they'll share that, oh, we went on a trip and the braking seemed a bit funny on the vehicle, or the steering just felt really light. And then I'll always go back and say, well, do you know what your tow ball was? What was the weight on your tow ball? And then I explain to them that too much tow ball weight or a very light tow ball weight can affect how your tow vehicle operates. So it's the vehicle manufacturers, like you mentioned, Isuzu, Holden, and so forth. They design specifically for weights to be distributed to a certain. There's some variation, so they already factor in when you've got a maximum tow ball weight on there of 300 or 350. They've factored that in there to ensure your steering and your brake efficiencies aren't compromised. So when you go outside of that envelope, you're actually affecting the safety of your vehicle as well. So it's not something to be taken lightly. People really need to be aware. This is why the GVM is so critical, and to know what your tow ball weight is critical as well.
Yeah. Gary, you're going to...
Yeah, no, I 100% support that. Yeah, that's again, we've sort of harped on it a fair bit, but it's understanding and knowing exactly what you have in conjunction with what you're allowed to be. It's not, one answer. There's not one answer that covers both. You need to understand both parts of it.
Correct. So Gary, GCM, mate, the combination together, both of them, the car, the caravan, it gets confusing, mate.
Yeah, GCM, so gross combination mass. Explaining firstly what it is, that's the weight of the car and the caravan when they're hooked up together, with measured at all points of contact with the road. That is the wheels of your car and the wheels of your caravan. That includes all of your passengers, all of your luggage, all of your fuel, all of your components in your caravan. So all your food, gas, water, clothes. It's the absolute maximum weight the two of them, when they're actually hooked up together, can't exceed. And again, it's a number which probably gets overlooked by a lot of people. They just assume if they've researched their GVM is 3,200 kilos and their towing capacity is 3,500 kilos, they assume that if they don't exceed the two maximum capacities there, that's going to be their GCM, their gross combined mass, when in fact there's very few vehicles on the road where GVM plus towing capacity equals the GCM. It is really something you need to drill down on quite extensively to understand just how much your car does weigh, to then determine how much you can tow behind you, or vice versa. How much does your caravan weigh, to then know how much the car can carry in it and still stay under that gross combined mass. And unfortunately, majority of the tow vehicles that this affects is that dual cab ute range, which is by far, that's the leading category of motor vehicle in the towing or the caravanning industry at the moment. It's we all like that weekend toy, dad's truck, work truck during the week, but it's the towing vehicle on the weekend. They're very, very surprising how many of those vehicles would be overloaded how many GCMs will be exceeded if you have, a full van and a full car together.
Because a lot of them, once as you said, the 3,200 and the 3,500 towing capacity, so the 3.2 GVM and the 3.5 towing, when you actually put them together, they actually downrate their combination.
Yeah, I mean, simple maths would say to the average person that if I can be 3,200 on the car and 3,500 towing, then my combination mass is 6,700 kilos, where in most of that particular vehicles we're talking about, the gross combination mass is actually down around the 6,000 kilo range. So 700 kilos less than what the two numbers added up together are. So you need to start considering what size caravan you're going to tow behind that car. If you have all, as Linda said before, all your bull bars and winches and everything else on there, and you're running really, really close to that GVM with mum and dad and a couple of kids in the car, and then X amount of ball weight on the back of it, you really need to start factoring in that you probably can't tow a 3,500 kilo caravan behind that car to stay underneath the gross combined mass number. Sometimes you're looking at vans, in the closer to the 2,500 to 2,700 kilo range to stay underneath that gross combined mass.
Yeah, correct. And I think you sort of touched on a good point there too. So you might go weigh it by yourself. So, we might go to the weigh bridge and check that we're okay. And then we come back and then we put the rest of the family in. But you actually could have then exceeded your GVM and your GCM because you've actually added some more people and more weight in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one that gets people caught out is when they've weighed the caravan and they're over, and then remove whatever heavy item is in the caravan and put that in the tow vehicle. And then they think, oh, but I've met the caravan ATM. Well, no, but now you're over your GCM. So your GVM is now too high.
Yeah, if you're overweight on your GCM, there's only one way of fixing it, and that is leaving stuff out. If that means the husband and kids stays at home while the wife goes away by herself, then unfortunately, guys, we might have to make that happen. There's no magic formula. Your GCM is just one there's no, take it from here and put it somewhere else. You just can't do much about it at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add here where I've come across quite a few people that who have had an issue with the GCM being too high, mainly because the ATM's higher. I'll recommend, look, if it's not critical to have both water tanks full, because generally they're the ones that have 2 water tanks, empty them if you're not planning to do free camping until you can work out what your other options are.
Yeah, that could be 200 or 300 kilos very simply. Absolutely. Just by running empty water tanks.
Yeah, exactly. So they're probably your car weights, towing vehicle weights, but they're also the weights for motorhomes as well that you need to be careful of because your motorhome's obviously classified as your car, but also then from a motorhome point of view, you're going to stick something on the back of that, caravan or a trailer, or I know some people tow another tow vehicle or another car that they travel around with. They might have a big motorhome and then have a car that they go into town with when they do their shopping and the like. So for that towing aspect of a motorhome, check out the caravan weights because that explains that weight as well. So anything else, guys, in terms of the car weights? We sort of come to the end of that flyer and stuff like that.
I'll only say one thing. Sorry, you go. Yep.
I was just going to mention just about tear mass on a motorhome, because it's obviously to make sure that if you are going through the process of you wanting to reweigh it, the tear mass requires only 10 litres of fuel in the fuel tanks when it leaves the factory. So it's just something to be aware of in terms of the major differences.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point there. And if the information we're sort of sharing here, it's not a secret. All these weights and measures for your car are available in the owner's manual of the car. They are required to put, GVMs and GCMs and towing capacities, all that sort of stuff in the owner's manual. So, if you're looking at what car suits your needs, grab hold of an owner's manual and you'll find all these maximum weights in there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And I think, as we sort of touched on with the caravan weights, this weights as well, always make sure you go and weigh at the appropriate places. You can pick up scales, as Gary sort of touched on in a couple of other topics. There's a lot of guys now that are mobile towing, weighing facilities and stuff like that as well. So make sure you're always checking what your weight is at that moment in time is always critical, and making sure you get this right. There's a lot of numbers and a lot of acronyms and all that sort of stuff. So we sort of stepped you through that today with the cars, towing vehicles and motorhomes, and we did the separate topic on the caravan. So if you're looking for that stuff, make sure you head across to that topic as well. So that probably covers us, guys. So I don't know if there's any last words.
I was just going to say, have a look at the information sheets on the Go Make Some Memories, the website in terms of all the data sheets. They're very helpful.
Yeah. We we collectively created those for you guys as the viewers to help you understand them. We've tried to put them in language that hopefully makes sense, because if you read the rules and regs, they don't make much sense to any normal person. They're written in a way, but we've tried to get that in a way for you guys. So obviously, thanks for tuning in. We've got a number of other topics, so look out for those as well. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.